Hello and welcome back to the Education Nation. As always, my name is Tomorrow's Medic. I'm a fourth year medic at Imperial College London, and boy do I have a banger of a video for you guys today. It's all about the medical personal statement. Now, as much as we would all like to believe all we have to do to secure an offer at our dream med school is write a completely unique, amazing, stand-out personal statement. However, the harsh reality is you're going to have admissions tutor that are reading thousands and thousands at a time, and they're looking for certain boxes that you guys must tick. I'm going to be giving you my suggestions on certain content that I recommend you guys include in your personal statements to ensure you're ticking all those boxes and keeping those admissions tutors nice and sweet. So, as always, timestamps on screen now and in the description. Without further ado, cue that intro and let's go. So, what are the specifications of the personal statement and how should you approach writing it? So in terms of the specs that are required, you essentially have a page of A4 font size 10 Arial font, and that works out at about 47 lines or 4,000 characters maximum, which is approximately around about 500 words. And bear in mind the 47 line maximum word limit includes blank spaces between paragraphs, so just do a cheeky indent. Now, one thing that you guys should be aware of is that when you submit your personal statements into the UCAS database, there is a plagiarism checker. So if your personal statement is 10% or more similar to another previously submitted personal statement within that UCAS database, you will be flagged for plagiarism, which you do not want to happen to you. Now, in terms of the deadline for 2020, I believe, is the 15th of October, but make sure you do your personal statement and submit it well before this deadline. So now on to the key content. Now, the first major point that you want to get across is your motivation for a lifelong career in medicine. So, why do you want to do medicine? You want to make this abundantly clear, usually in the very first paragraph, and you want to demonstrate any medicine awareness activities that you have done to find out more about the career, be it any books that you've read, any courses, conferences you've been to. Are you reading any journals, the Student BMJ or the New Scientist, any research endeavors such as any health articles that you might have written, or in EP.1 maybe? So you want to really show all these things to demonstrate how and why you're motivated for a career in medicine. So now, as well as conveying your motivation for a career in medicine, you also want to show the admissions tutors you have a realistic insight into what a career in medicine involves, such that you want to highlight the demanding nature, you want to highlight the challenges, is it a career suitable for you? Don't be afraid of mentioning some of the negative aspects, such as breaking bad news and how you plan to overcome these negatives. Showing the negative side of things actually shows a level of maturity and shows that you appreciate medicine is not just a career about saving lives. So don't be afraid of mentioning some negatives. So now onto the work experience aspect of your personal statement. Now, for me, the work experience aspect took a huge proportion of my personal statement. I think it was roughly about 50% of my entire personal statement, and I had a separate paragraph for volunteering itself. Now, I think work experience is one of the most important things that you should include in your personal statements. Reason being is it shows that you have taken time out to find out what a career in medicine realistically looks like and involves. It shows that you have commitment, and also you can bring out your personal development from these experiences and how your personal development increases your suitability for being a doctor via those key transferable skills. So what types of work experiences should you be writing about in your personal statement? I personally recommend that you go for a nice variety. So, the classic combination is primary care, so any GP placements, then secondary care, any hospital placements, and then any volunteering or charity work that you have done as well. So you have a good varied portfolio that can be quite impressive. Now, I appreciate, and medical schools appreciate, that not everyone has the opportunities when it comes to work experience. So I always say this: quality over quantity. It's how you talk about your work experience, what you've learned from it, how it's made you decide that you want to do medicine, your reflections from your work experience that are really the most important thing. Now, if you're struggling to really talk about, your reflections, what you learn, etc., etc., a really good acronym that I used to use and still like to this day is called STAR. STARR. The S stands for the situation. What was the situation? T, what was the task? A, what was the action you took? R, what is the result of that action? And R again, what is your reflection of the whole experience? So that's something when it comes to brainstorming, how you can talk about certain experiences that can be quite effective. Now, something that I think is really, really powerful is if you can show that you have worked with a diverse age group. So, i.e., whether you've worked with elderly and you've worked with some young children. Now, I personally did this myself, and what I did is I actually sort of contrasted the two age groups, their similarities and differences, and that actually was one of my favorite paragraphs. It really shows a level of perception and maturity that not many candidates are really getting across. Now, I appreciate, obviously, with the COVID pandemic, many of you may be struggling in terms of the elderly care home, in terms of your work experiences. However, as I've said before, just because there's a pandemic doesn't mean there isn't things that you can still be doing. You can be helping deliver food, medicines, etc. to elderly people that are shielding. For instance, just as an example, there are still always opportunities for you guys to volunteer and have a positive impact on society. Now, even if your experiences aren't technically medically related, i.e. you've helped someone in your family, you've been caring for someone, a close relative, for instance, mention those. It doesn't have to be medically related. What you really want to be getting across from your volunteering and work experience is that you have compassion, you have experience of being able to be in a role where you're caring for people, where you're looking after people, that you have the ability to empathize, all the key characteristics of a doctor. So now in the final section of your personal statement, you want to be getting across that you aren't one-dimensional and that you're an all-rounder. So I recommend maybe just 3-4 lines, really conveying the achievements that you have done over the years that show that you have commitment, and you can really bring out transferable skills that are applicable to being a doctor in this section, which is going to be much more useful and more impactful than just listing these skills on their own. So this is a really key paragraph. Now, I must stress, don't try and pack everything in. Focus on achievements rather than hobbies. And remember, don't worry, you have a reference that will be submitted as well. So if there are things that you can't fit in, try and get that in the reference itself. So as well as talking about your personal achievements, what have you gained from these experiences is something that you might want to talk about as well. Just food for thought. Now, something that you guys may look to do this year in particular is, how have you developed yourself during lockdown? Is there anything that you've done in the spare time that lockdown has afforded you guys? So this is something new and unprecedented that you might want to look to include if you have done something really unique with your spare time in lockdown that can be quite impressive. So here, again, just food for thought. Thank you very much for tuning in to another banger of a video. And just to reiterate, the purpose of this video is to get you guys thinking about your personal statement, trying to brainstorm some ideas. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like, subscribe. Put a lot of effort into these videos, so please like and subscribe. It really mean a lot. Education Nation, over and out.
Sheesh.
True history.